Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Dr. Patricia Kolodnicki for St. Joseph's College, speaking specifically about assessments and more specifically for your edTPA secondary mathematics. Alright, let's get started. So for your assessments, obviously assessments are mentioned throughout your different commentaries. For your planning commentary, we're looking for your assessments to tie to your central focus. They should include both formal and informal assessments. You should have multiple formative assessments throughout each lesson. I'm not talking about one formative assessment. I'm talking about multiple types of formative assessment throughout your lesson, at the beginning, somewhere in the middle, maybe at the end as well. You should include questions on conceptual understanding, procedural fluency, problem solving, all the CPP, everything edTPA is looking for. If you want some examples, we'll talk about questions and examples from math for each type of these types of questions. For conceptual understanding, here are some I came up with to deal with concepts and showing students, asking students to express their conceptual understanding. Given a set of numbers, circle the irrational numbers and explain what makes them irrational. Describe the connections between the equation of the line given and its graph. Identify the type of transformation used on each figure. Define and give an example of interest in a real-world context. So again, being able to explain some things, maybe just circle and identify, maybe give a definition. These are all questions that would relate to conceptual understanding. Procedural fluency. Obviously, this is just the doing math part. So can they factor completely an expression? Can they graph a linear systems of equations and identify the solution? Can they find an area of an enclosed figure? Thinking about geometry. Graph. Can they graph and identify local max and mins? Again, being able to do something procedural, being able to do something and give an answer. That's procedural fluency. And then problem solving. My favorite types of questions. Based on the linear system provided, which method would you use to solve? Graphing, substitution method, and elimination method, and explain why. Given the work shown below, find the error and give the person a tip so that they can improve next time. John graphed the equation but was unable to find the y-intercept on his calculator. Explain an alternative method that he could use. So again, focus on the problem solving. How did you do it? Why did you do it this way? What's a better way to do it? Error analysis questions are always my favorite type of problem solving, and again, they're really easy to throw on tests or quizzes for students to look at. They're also mentioned on my engaging lessons slides and video. Error analysis is one of my favorite things to use. In your instruction commentary, obviously you want to infuse your lessons with multiple formative assessments. Here are some suggestions. Entrance and exit tickets, sticky notes, writing an answer to one question on a sticky note just so that you have kind of a quick measurement of who's getting it, who's not getting it. A thumbs up, thumbs down. Are you ready to move on? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Hold your fingers up, either for multiple choice questions, is it choice 1, 2, 3, or 4, or rating themselves on a topic. How do you feel right now on this topic? Are you super confident? That's a 4. Are you pretty okay with it? That's a 3. Are you not so great with it? That's a 2. Are you totally lost? That's a 1. Something like plickers, again, a paper-based activity. Students have a plicker on a paper. You scan the room with your phone, and you have not only you have concrete data, you have data you can go back and look at. You can look at individual students on plickers, so it's a pretty cool tool. And again, are your tasks hitting CPP? Conceptual understanding, procedural fluency, and problem solving. Obviously, your assessment commentary, it's all about the assessment. You have to select one assessment from your learning segment. Again, I would recommend you use a longer one, either a quiz or a test. I recommend for you to heavily revise either a teacher-created assessment or an assessment from a class resource like a textbook or a program. You have to have CPP questions in your test. edTPA is looking for specific things, and a teacher-created test might not be considering all of those different aspects that you need to include in your test. Do not rely heavily on multiple choice questions. Of course, you can use a few, but to add to that, you should require students to show their work for those multiple choice questions. So again, having a wrong answer without any work, you could say maybe the student guessed. Even if they had a right answer, maybe the student guessed. So it doesn't really show understanding when using multiple choice questions unless there's work shown. And we're at the end. Some final thoughts on assessments. Obviously, be conscious of your assessment use throughout your learning segment. You should have multiple aspects, multiple opportunities for students to be assessed throughout your learning segment. This should be a mix of quick and easy assessments, right, like thumbs up, thumbs down, plickers, but also maybe some more written assessments, something like an exit ticket or an entrance ticket. These should include maybe some opportunities for students to reflect. Answering a question like, what was the main concept we learned today? How comfortable do you feel about whatever it is, solving two-step equations, for example? For your assessment commentary, obviously you have to be sure that your assessment that you're using for the commentary has those leveled questions. It includes all of the aspects of CPP, and obviously all good practice, you should not only do it, copy it, do it yourself, have a friend look it over before and take it before you give it to students to make sure all your directions and explanations are clear and that students are and that your colleague is understanding what you're asking students to do. So again, a really quick video just touching on some key points of assessments for your edTPA. Good luck.